I think one of my favorite things is when all the shows start to run down and like everyone starts to leave and there's just like a few people left and it's late and then the heart to hearts start to happen and you just like start talking about something really like amazing. I've had some really good deep conversations with people and
Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and we got one hell of a guest, and that is...
Hi, I'm RegenStorm.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us, RegenStorm. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes. Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here.
What is it?
Thanks for having me.
What is it you're most known for here in VR, and how'd you get started with everything?
That's a good question. So I suppose I'm known a lot for my VJing, a bit of my DJing. I used to be a go-go dancer. I still do, but I don't do it nearly as much. I think that would be mostly it. I like to be involved in like creative projects and stuff, but yeah, that's mostly what I'm known for.
Okay. So what pulled you into VR chat and VR initially before you got into all of those things?
So originally, it was around when COVID came, and I was supposed to go on a trip to Japan with some friends, and then it was literally like the week COVID happened that when everything shut down was when we were supposed to go on the trip. So I took all that money that I got back from the flights and bought a nice computer and started getting into streaming a little bit and stuff. But after a while, I was like, oh, I really want to get into VR. So I got a VR headset and started to dabble in that. And yeah, that's mostly when it started. That would have been back in like 2020, I think.
Okay.
Oh, gotta ask that question. I gotta ask that famous question of mine. When you first came into VR, right, wherever you landed and everything else, the very first thing you saw, and you looked at it and whatever it was, and you said, "Nope, this is not for me," and you got the hell out of it. What was it?
The first like cringe thing I saw, or like the first
Cringe, weird.
Anything that made you weird, anything like that, to say, "I'm out of here."
Yeah. I think I'd have to say that's a tough one. Probably just like the toxic like internet kids that just like say the worst stuff, and then you're just like, you know what? Nope. See you later. That's probably it. I did see like a banana and a hot dog going at it. That was kind of weird, but
a banana and a hot dog going at it. My God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what that means, folks. No matter what the ordeal is, you're getting a peel and somebody's getting, just come out your wiener. Oh my God.
So from your first steps into VR chat, what was the things that came first? Was it the go-go dancing? Was it VJing? Did you have any prior experience to VJing?
No, actually, most of my VR experience, and I guess you wouldn't really say career, but like my most of what I got into when I first started was just kind of hopping around, like connecting. Like VR chat's so much networking and like just kind of talking to someone and being like, oh yeah, you got to check out this cool thing, and and then just kind of spider webs. But when I first started, I met some people. It was there was like a little community thing where we'd play like simple games like spin the bottle or like never have ever and stuff, and you like dare each other. I guess it's more like a truth and dare kind of thing. But then from there, I had a friend who invited me to this mafia roleplay community. It was a lot of fun. It was basically LARPing in VR chat, but it was fun. You make your character and stuff, but eventually it got kind of like, without going into too much detail, it got kind of toxic. Things just kind of went their own ways and stuff, and that's actually when I got more into the DJ scene, because I didn't start DJing, but I got into like the dancing and whatnot, and going to the clubs, and it was mostly actually I was playing a bit of Final Fantasy 14, and in there they had their own like kind of little DJ stuff, and then there was one guy who did it in Twitch, but you couldn't really like stream Twitch into Final Fantasy 14, of course. But I knew them because I was a bard in there, and I had like this little program that you could play like really fancy midis and stuff, which was pretty neat. But yeah, they introduced me to the VR chat scene, and that's where I met SWA Music. They're really cool and talented. They're probably my oldest friend on here. And yeah, and then I just started going to different clubs and whatnot. I went to an emo night and kind of really got out of my shell. Although I am getting ahead of myself a little bit, because originally I was too scared to even like dance in VR chat. I'm like, what if someone looks at me? What if they judge me? And it was actually like, I don't know, I was pretty self-conscious about it. But I think it was New Year's 2020. I think, pretty sure it was either New Year's 2020 or 2021. I'm getting my years mixed up a little bit. I might have started in 2019, but anyway. Clyde Machine was doing the New Year's stream for the VR chat, like official thing on New Year's, and me and my friends were there drinking, and Clyde's like, "Oh, come with us," because we were in the streaming world, the ones that were actually streaming from, and he's like, "Come dance with me up here," and so we all like went up and danced, and I don't know, I just kind of opened up and got some confidence, and that's it's kind of when I started being confident enough to even dance in VR, and then. Yeah, and then people saw me dancing. They're like, "Oh, there's this community called Calibrate that does go-go dancing." And I was like, "What's go-go dancing? I don't know what that is." And there's like, "Oh, they dance for DJs and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds awesome." So yeah, I signed up for that, and then I was on the next VR chat stream for the next New Year's after that at RegenStorm, and that was really really cool. First time I like officially danced for anywhere in VR chat.
Wow,
that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Nice.
So from how did you get into VJing from there, from the go-go dancing?
So actually that was Calibrate too. Akiyama, he runs that. He's kind of been the staple from the beginning in there. And I noticed they had really neat visuals, and I was like, "Oh, what are you using for that?" And they said they use synesthesia. So I looked into synesthesia, and it's kind of, there's a lot of like different sliders and whatnot that you can use to adjust it on the fly, and then some of it's automated, like audio reactive. So it's kind of like having a little bit of help with the visuals. But yeah, I played around with that, and then I was like, "Oh, that'd be really cool if I can get the feed from VR chat into the visuals," because you could add like GIFs or whatever the proper term is. I don't know. But yeah, so you could put like most things, but it was actually really hard to get the feed from VR chat into a lot of different visualizers. So I spent some time looking into that, and I found a pretty good way to do it. And I started doing that. I found a good way where you can like circle the camera around you just with the VRC camera. So I do that, and then I had the idea to get other dancers, because I noticed a lot of dancers, they'd be dancing beside the DJ or stuff. Some people would have their avatar hidden or whatever, because some of the really nice dancing avatars are really unoptimized or whatnot. But so I was like, I should get them involved in the visuals. So I started to get some of my friends that I made through there into my visuals, and that was a lot of fun. Basically, like, since I'd have the camera circling, I'd go into an invisible avatar, and then I'd stand basically on top of them, so it'd be like the camera's focused on them, and then I'd circle around them and do like zoom ins and stuff, and then I'd be doing my visualizer software at the same time. And especially if they're pole dancing, it looks really good, because if they're spinning the other way, it looks nice. And it's kind of how I got into it, I suppose.
Okay.
That answers your question.
No, it does answer my question. So from there, how do you do that similar visual style now, or do you do it differently from how you started?
Yeah, I do it pretty similarly. I switched it up recently because my friend DX came out with a prefab that's really nice for camera work. and you can like set up a path for a camera and do fancy swoops and tilts and stuff, which I like to do that a lot. So I've been dabbling more in that, but that's about the big difference. I guess I've been tweaking it along the way here and there, making it more crisp and getting the settings right, because I do mine a lot different than other people, so I couldn't even ask a lot of people for help. I just had to figure it out, so it took me a bit, but...
Okay. So what makes what you do stand out from the other people then, if you do your visual style differently from others, may I ask?
Well, if it's just me, I usually like to have some sort of prop. So recently I've been using my guitar that I have. I can probably show you that later. Or I have a hat that I'll throw, stuff like that, just to like kind of get a bit of attention towards me. If, you know, people are like, oh, what? And that's honestly what a lot of people remember me for, is like my hat or my guitar. But aside from that, I would lip sync to the songs when I'm DJing too. And so that would come through in my visuals. And I do my own VJing and my DJing and my dancing and my camera work. And I kind of just got everything going, like so ADHD, just doing all the things. And at first it was pretty awful, but over time I kind of like that, because it just got me used to doing multiple things and staying on track.
Hearing you say you do all those things is not something I'm capable of doing. Running a camera, doing the camera work and choreography, then also running your VJ equipment and programs and stuff. That it seems like you do a lot. How long did it take you to figure that out?
Oh, good question. I don't know if I give like a specific set. Some people argue I'm still figuring it out, but no, I'd say like first thing that pops in my mind is like a year maybe, but yeah, something like that.
Okay, that's fair enough. So what makes you continue to do it today from when you started way back when, both dancing and VJing?
I think the big thing is I always say that when I'm DJing or doing a set, it's more of like a show, and I'm doing it for me a lot of times. And of course, if like I want other people to enjoy my vibe, enjoy my music that I like too. But yeah, a lot of it is for me. So I'll like turn out my music and I'll just dance and like just get right into it, and then like tweak the visuals and do that and get the transition and go back and forth. And it just like, they always say that anxiety is like right next to excitement. So I get anxious, but I know it's just because I'm excited to do it. So like once I get up there, it's just like, yeah, and I get into it. It's a lot of fun.
So what was some of the first shows that made you that you were doing when you decided, I want to do this for fun?
So the very first show I did was actually Calibrate had like a talent, not a talent show, but like showcasing their own talent for DJing and stuff. So a few of us were like, yeah, we want to give it a shot. And I got it already. I'm like, this should be good, ready to go. And it went horribly. Like my stuff crashed. I like my VR chat crashed. I got back in. I couldn't move. Like I had like my visualizer just to close. It was just like a black screen. So I didn't even have visuals, and it was just like, oh. But that gave me more drive to just do better. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question for him, Line.
Shoot.
I had a question for him. When you're up and DJing stuff like this, what vibe do you get when you see everybody out on the floor? What do you get? Is it for the people or is it for the music that you do?
The vibe? Like, I guess if I understand what you mean there, like a lot of the, like I don't really do it for other people, like, but I want to connect with people. So it's like I don't do it so like, oh, everyone likes this music or genre or whatnot, I honestly don't even know a lot of the popular like EDM stuff. I'm like, I'll recognize it, but I'm like, I don't even know what song this is, and it's almost to my benefit. That way, it's just like I play whatever I like, and doesn't mean I'm going to be popular or anything, but it's just what I like to do. So, yeah, like if someone's up there like dancing, I'll even like take the moment to friend them and whatnot, because I'm like, hey, like they're enjoying it, and they're physically showing they like it, and I think that's cool. So like, and I love talking to people after too, and whatnot. So maybe it's a little misleading to say I don't really do it for other people, because like I love to connect with them, but I'm also not gonna do it for what's popular. Yeah, I guess. Like I've done some ska sets, and there's lots of people who don't like ska, and I love to do ska. It's just so happy. It's great.
I have a question for you. What is ska? I have no idea what that is.
So that's what I was going.
This is a great time to show one of my other avatars, actually. So ska is
When
like...
you say sounds like a dinner plate that you ordered at a restaurant. Yeah, have you ever tried the ska? It's real good. What the hell is that? You know.
Okay, so some people would say... Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
we can.
So some people would say a ska is like when you get an extra mozzarella stick in your order. But it's a lot... Yeah, it's a lot like punk music, but like with horns and trumpets. That's kind of how I would describe it. Like Real Big Fish is one of the most popular ska bands, for instance. And this is my ska avatar, so it's like...
Oh, that's neat.
Or I can be like...
That's really neat.
So that's ska. And that's what I mean by I have some sort of object people remember me by, and it's fun. I like the boomerangs. I made that myself. Well, it was based on something a long time ago, but I totally rewrote it, made it my own. And since I'm at it, I can show you. Hopefully, I'm not bouncing around too much. I know I get kind of ADHD, but
That's okay.
All right, and this is my guitar one.
Oh,
This is my most recent one, so I'll go like
that
this.
looks super neat.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really cool.
Same tan. And yeah, it's a good time. It does a few other things, like it shoots fire and like I can do some fun stuff. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
So what is the typical genres of music you usually play or go for, Mask? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like chiptune. Ska, I haven't done ska in a while, but electro swing's really good. Any sort of emo or punk music is fun. What else? Yeah, like funk. And yeah, I think those are some of my favorites that I can think of off the top of my head.
So since you DJ as well as VJ and dance, what made you want to do multiples at the same time versus each one separately?
That's a good question. I think it came down to like I'd see a lot of talented go-go dancers, and people would go up and be like, especially if they weren't used to the scene, they'd be like, "Is that the DJ, or is that just like an animation? Is that actually them dancing? I don't think that's actually them." And it's like, no, they're that talented. Like they're great, and I wanted to showcase a lot of dancers too. So I had the idea to like implement a dancer specifically for the visuals for another DJ, and it turned out really well. For the most part, like I was learning, and there was some things that there's always hiccups here and there, but I liked how it turned out, and so I kept doing that, and I think that's probably it, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay. So what specifically attracted you to the go-go scene in VRChat? Like what makes you enjoy it and do that over like doing other things with like VR Dance Academy or any of the other dance crews here?
I've done some. Like VR dancing is a lot of fun. I've done with them, but it's just like a lot of that is doing like the Just Dance kind of thing where you do the dance routines and stuff. But there's classes and whatnot too. I've always been meaning to go to them, but I always miss them. But I've done stuff with Ministry too. They're really solid as well. Those are probably the two I know the most. But yeah, I'm open to whatever. I don't have any qualms against other dance communities or anything. A lot of times I just forget or I don't have the time.
No, I'm not saying you do or anything. I'm just curious as what attracted you to that first,
Yeah.
other the groups and dance groups that would be around the scene and stuff. That's all. Also, another dumb question: what is go-go dancing?
Oh, okay. So go-go dancing is just like a lot of nice dancing where it's not like how do I say it? So there is another side of VRChat where it's like the lap dancing and whatnot. And that's what people think. They're like, oh, you're a dancer. Oh, and it's like, no, like you can be a dancer that's specifically for entertainment and music. And that's what I would say. So it's to music, and usually it's they'll have two people on either side of like a DJ dancing. So it's a little different than what people might expect, but
okay. I have heard a bit of dancers with DJs and stuff as well. How long has that been in VRChat for? Like DJs with dancers specifically? Do you know?
Yeah, I think like one of the first people to do that was Calibrate that I'm aware of.
Oh wow.
And that was back in 2021, I believe. No, wait, they might have been around a little bit before that, but that's when I joined up. Things were just kind of starting. And yeah, I don't know if there's any sort of presence for that. A lot of people didn't have full body either, so it'd be like until that point when people got more full body and it was more mainstream, then yeah, it was not as easy to do. Otherwise, you just have like the people going back and forth. Like it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Okay. Would you also mind explaining who and what Calibrate is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like a dance agency where it's just like dancers will go there and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm looking for a place to dance," and they'll set you up, do schedules, and have slots to sign up for, and they usually do that weekly. And yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. It's good you meet a lot of people and get out there. It's good.
So you as like a VJ, DJ, and go-go dancer, do you have any specific homes that you go to more often than not, or have you been and played for lots of different venues here?
Yeah, I kind of do all over. I kind of do whoever like kind of requests me. Sometimes I'll chase them. Actually, really, probably my favorite ones would be Moonpool. That's the name of the world, and they operate through I forget the name. I just joined their server recently. But yeah, I did it for this New Year's. I did a set there, and it's like it's all part. You really got to see it, but it's just like particle screen, particles all over. Actually, Silent talked about it in their interview.
Yeah, it's the
same people. It's Apple and DDoS. Yeah.
Yeah, we chatted with them. They're both really fantastic people.
Yeah, absolutely, they are. I like their vibe.
So you would say their group is your favorite, as you said?
Yeah, one of them. Trying to think what else. Light Dimension's really cool too. It's a similar thing, but it's kind of more like height maps instead of particles. So it's like similar thing, but it's more of like an orb too. And then there's a lot of visuals that they control in world as well. So it's just like a surreal experience. I really like stuff like that. PK and Break, they're really cool. Really talented. they do a lot of like experience worlds where they'll like have a DJ and then they'll do all the visuals with like shapes and stuff. It's really hard to describe if you're not in VR, but like when you experience it, you're like, oh, that's really cool.
Okay. I have another silly kind of whiplashy question, but I am actually quite curious. Since you're doing multiple things simultaneously, what kind of equipment do you use to run everything, and how long is setup?
My setup does actually take a while, but I'm pretty good at it now. So I have a deck that I bought it originally for Virtual DJ because I've been using that. And then I have another one. It's called the XL Novation, I believe. And the other one is the Reloop Touch. I guess I never actually said the name of it. But those are the physical controllers I use. And then, yeah, I need to, like, I use 2 computers and then Voicemeeter to like send it back and forth between the 2 computers, and then I use my Elgato to send picture to my streaming computer, and then I use Synesthesia to do the visuals over the VRChat feed, and then I have like my full body, of course, and then I have my face tracker. I'm in the process of getting eye tracking, but I actually don't have eye tracking at the moment. Just the mouth tracking. But what else do I use? Yeah, and then just making sure it all works. And it's so easy if you do something in the wrong order, especially with synesthesia. It's like it's very fragile. So it's like if you do something wrong, it'll just freeze. And then, or OBS, if I do something wrong, it just won't redo what I need, and then I'll have to restart my whole computer. And then that, if it's right, if I need to be doing something at this time, it's like that's very inconvenient. But
Wow. It sounds like you have quite the lengthy setup to get everything going between all the different processes and computers and stuff. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, it took me a bit. I guess I didn't start like that. Like you kind of just keep adding things and over time you tweak it and whatnot. So yeah.
That makes a whole lot of sense. So how long did it take for you to have this kind of lengthy setup process, may I ask, between the multiple computers, all the controllers and decks and other programs you run to have it all work properly? Was that something you kind of picked up over a period of months or years?
Let's see. I would say, yeah, I think I've been doing it for almost 3 years, ish, maybe just under that. So, yeah, just like one of the biggest reasons I specifically got into DJing was I went to an emo night, and I was just like, it reminded me of like being a young teenager again. I was like, oh yeah, these songs, I know them, and oh, it's so great. I just danced my heart out, and it was so fun. That was it before I was even a go-go dancer. And it was a lot of fun, and I had not experienced that feeling in VRChat at that point. So I was like, oh, I really want to do that. I want to be able to DJ, and I want to bring that feeling to other people. So I got a deck that was not great, but it was okay. Then I kind of started to do it, and Akiyama from Calibrate actually helped me a lot, figure out a lot of good tips and got me started, basically, which is nice, because it can be a bit intimidating to start, because you're just like, I have no idea like what to do, what to get, when to mix songs, how to make them sound decent and whatnot. And it's nice to have someone to push you a little.
Okay. So along your path, was it just Akiyama and Calibrate that kind of pushed and taught you things, or do you have any other mentors, one would say, as well?
Yeah, actually, there was somebody else who I'm forgetting. I'm really bad with names. I think they go by AD now, but they ended up hooking me up with the virtual DJ program, which was all the more reason to be like, hey, I need to check this out, give it a good, honest try. And then other people were like, oh, don't use your mouse and keyboard, you'll get bad habits. And so I looked online and I found one. It was just like a Newmark party mix. I think it was like one of the cheaper ones, which ironically ended up dropping and landed on its cord, punched it in like a nail. But luckily I could still return it on Amazon. But yeah, that's kind of how that started.
Okay. So another random question as well. Do you have any favorite moments from your entire career as a go-go dancer, DJ, VJ? Anything that sticks out to you? Any places?
Good question. I think one of my favorite things is when all the shows start to run down and like everyone starts to leave and there's just like a few people left and it's late, and then the heart-to-hearts start to happen and you just like start talking about something really like amazing. I've had some really good deep conversations with people, and that's definitely what I appreciate the most. Yeah, I think there was actually Loon. I think they don't mind which way you pronounce it, but it's like LHUN. They do a lot of VCAT stuff. I think they basically run VCAT along with a few other people. But I remember them taking me around and some other people to see a few different worlds, and they showed us like some really exclusive ones with like that like weren't even public. Like there's like a Facebook one that was like all like a 4K 360 screen, and that was like quite a long time ago. It was just like really impressive tech. That was cool. Those are probably some of the best memories I think I had. Like just
okay. So you
stick out.
So some of the things that matter to you most within VRChat isn't necessarily any of the showy, flashy things, but the interpersonal moments. If I'm getting that correctly?
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. It means a lot to me to have those connections and like just connecting with like-minded people. I always feel like there's a lot of like how do I put it? Sometimes there's a lot of elitism and some people get their egos and whatnot, but I've always thought that it's really important to have an open mind, and like there's so many awful things in the world, like beyond things like, and people use VRChat a lot of times for an escape. And if there's something you like to do, and even if people find it cringy or whatever, as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else or at the expense of yourself, it's like I think that should be chased. Like if you find happiness in something, you should do that. Like I had a buddy who used to love to carry around just like a stuffed plushie in real life, and I was like, oh dude, that's so cringy, don't do that, and then I thought about it and I was like, you know what, if that makes them happy or feel safe, like they're not hurting anyone. All the power to them.
Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. If you're not hurting anybody, there's no point. Now, whenever you've explained like what you enjoy within VR and with your DJing and VJing, what kind of response do you generally get from people like outside of the scene?
It's actually really fascinating that there's so many different segments of VRChat. Like when I was in the role-playing stuff, like a long time ago, it was like none of them even knew about the music scene. And they're like, what, really? There's like shows that are happening? But it was weird. I'd invite them and they'd be like, no, I'm busy. Like they'd never come. But like there's so many different segments. And then there's the like improv, and then there's of course the music scene. And then there's some I don't even know, I'm sure. But there's just so many little communities, and they all used to be so separate. It's better now that groups and stuff is out, but so many of them just had no idea the other ones were even around or a thing. and they thought they were just like the center, because that's all they've seen. And then once you get out of it, you're like, oh no, there's so much going on in VRChat.
One other thing I've noticed within like VRChat and the communities and scenes as well is everyone wants other people to enjoy what they do, whether it's through socials or anything. A lot of people are pushing to have whatever they enjoy enjoyed by others. And I see as a lot of the coming tools, groups, other websites and people like Duck who are doing Party Hub and stuff like that in order to push a lot of those things. I think you'll see a lot of those different smaller scenes grow over time as well.
True, and there's so many talented people, and I keep being more and more surprised. It's really something like, and it's something that you can't explain to people outside of VR very well. They'll be like, oh well, what can you do there? And you're just like, at this point, I'm just like, you won't know until you put on a headset. And they're like, oh, but well, what about this? It's like, you won't know until you put on a headset and try it. And then they'll be like, well, like, just more and more questions, and you just have to try it because you can't explain it. Nothing to describe. It's like, how would you describe the Northern Lights, right? It's like, oh yeah, they're like flashy lights in the sky that move really slow. People are like, if they'd never seen it before, they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Bye. Okay, maybe they wouldn't be like that, but like, yeah. I think that's along the line of what it's like, yeah.
I can agree with you. Sometimes sort of like people outside of VRChat and VR, I try to tell what I do, because some people ask, what is this Metaverse Degen thing? And then I try to explain, and I feel like the dude, frazzled ass hair, maps all over the fucking place, red lines going from one place into the other. It's like, there's this thing over this way, and that leads to that thing. You can do all these crazy things, and I feel like an insane man sometimes. It's like, yeah, of course. That sounds so interesting. Get me the fuck out of here. I feel like that guy sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like, how would I explain to a lot of people that I'm a DJ VJ cat girl in VRChat, and they'll be like, huh? Like, it's like, no, if you come in VRChat, I'll happily like show people around and express what I enjoy about it. But until then, it's like, I can't. It's too stressful.
Fair enough. So with a lot of the stuff you do in VRChat, now that I'm going to ask another weird question. Have you ever pulled it out of VRChat? Whether it be going to other venues or clubs, doing what you do that way, or anything of that nature, is everything you do strictly here in the virtual? Hey, we're interrupting your current podcast watching to actually ask you a favor. Would you like to join us at any of the other locations other than YouTube to follow us, which is like Discord, where we do things all the time, hang out, play games. There are memes and stuff being posted. Somewhere there's some duck references. We have a Patreon you can also follow, which we do a whole other show outside of Metaverse Degen as a thank you for those who signed up, like Niche, Forbidden Zero, and Aliquum, as an example. The name should be here for you as well. Or the Twitter, which currently it's under my name, which is LionTurtle21. You can find that. I post things, random bullshit. You get updates, or me being with the community, whatever. You can find all of this and more over at metaversedegen.card.co. All right, I think I got everything. I didn't mess it up this time.
Yeah. Okay, you should don't. Oh my god. I'm gonna drown myself.
Already, we want to jump your video watching any further. Have a good one.
Actually, that's a pretty good segue to another thing that I wanted to talk about. My friend Amith has been. They do a lot of journalism about the metaverse and just like VR in general and AR, and they asked me to be their guinea pig of sorts for a painting in VR, in AR. So they took a 3D scan of their room and uploaded it in VR, and then they had me do AR. So I appeared on their headset, but they were like in real life, and it's something that is really hard to explain. But it looked like I was there in real life with them, because they had the pass through on the Quest, and then they just see me there, and then they painted me. And I have a a copy of the painting that I adore, and they did a great job. But it's just like the whole they explain it so much better than I do. But I was actually in a green room for it because as she was streamlining her process. But yeah, it was really cool. I highly recommend checking out the video. It kind of just shows how the potential of like doing art in a medium like VRChat, where they were painting in real life, where I was standing in front of them as me in my avatar, and yeah, it was cool. And we hugged at the end, and she said it was just like, it's really surreal being like hugged by someone in the AR space. So like, you know, it was very, very interesting. But yeah, best thing I say is check out the video. I really like what they're working with, and it's really cool.
So that actually sounds quite interesting as well. AR used in that fashion. What was the experience like for you, like being on the other side, being the model in VR for real life art? How do you feel about it?
It was a lot of fun. Like, she asked me to like, oh, it looked like you're like poking through my desk, and then you got caught, and I was like, you know, like, got all surprised and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. You can kind of see it in the video, and yeah, it was surreal. Like, it was cool. It was cool. That's the best way I could say it. I really liked it, actually.
Now, what was it like for you seeing the painting after it was finished? After standing there for how long? And how long were you standing there, may I ask, for as like an art model?
I say it was 20 minutes, and then they did like a speed one. They did a few different kinds of art. Maybe it was longer. I'm a little fuzzy on that, but yeah, it was. They did like a speed painting, and then after that they did. I can't remember the names. It's a specific kind of art, but yeah, it was. It was really, really cool. And then when I actually saw their finished painting, because they got it to me later, I love it. It looks so cool. I actually have it framed and hung up in my house because I just thought it was so cool.
It sounds really cool. Did you ever get from this artist what made them want to use AR in that fashion? Because that is very unique, at least from my perspective, anyway.
Yeah. Amos is like super artsy and like just knows a lot of like what's coming, what's popular, especially in VR, and just like does the research, and she's not afraid to like say it how it is too, and I think that's an awesome trait for a journalist. And yeah, it was an idea she wanted to try, because I know there were some venues that kind of did that with the AR, where you can, with the Quest 3, apparently you can kind of project what you see through your headset, so you can like take your real life space and kind of put it in VR, but it's sort of like that. It might just be like what you see from your headset, so the people in the world wouldn't see it, but it would look like they're all there in your house, which is basically how she painted me. Which is just really cool. I think there's so much potential for that. Like, this is all opinions, I guess, but like, for the Apple headset, I think it's neat that people can walk around and like, I feel like at one point it'll be like, you'd be able to just block out somebody in real life if you don't want to see them. Like, it would just put like a sensor bar over them or something. Like, if you just want to like tunnel vision, I think you could. Or like, then there's all those filters in like Snapchat and stuff where you can put on like somebody else's face. So, which is something I guess I won't get into too much, but it's like, if you can put on some celebrity's face, there's so much trouble that people could get into, which is like mentally, if you're like, let's just say you have this fantasy of like, you really like some celebrity, and suddenly you can put their face on your boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, I don't know. I think it's gonna get there at some point, but like, I don't know. It's gonna. I feel like it's gonna have a whole bunch of other mental health issues.
Well, to be fair, as tech producers, there'll always be those people who misuse it for their own entertainment, I guess is a way to put that. But in terms of like VR
Yeah,
chat,
that's true.
I've only heard of one other group doing stuff with AR though, and that was Tube, where they did the AR overlays to their club. That was the only other time I've heard of AR used in VR chat, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's around where the same concept came from. And I know SWA Music as well did some of that. I think SWA Music makes the world for Tube, and they're like a really good friend of mine. Like I said earlier, one of my oldest friend in VR chat, and they're really talented. But yeah, the Tube, they did that, which was one of the first I saw too, and I was like, that's really cool. And yeah, other than Amos, I haven't seen too many people do anything with AR related as well.
Well, in your opinion, do you think more AR application would be usable with VR chat? Since you've like participated, it sounds, in a few different things, or at least know of a few different things between the art and Tube. Do you think there's more applications here?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's gonna need to. There'll be a moment where suddenly I think VR will explode in popularity. But like right now, it's still pretty unknown. But like who knows when that will be? But yeah, I feel like it has the potential, but it still needs to go. It still has a long way to go until it gets to that point, because people don't understand or trust VR AR yet, like outside of the people who are in here.
Well, I also think it's also most people don't know of it or can't afford it. I think probably the moment you see VR explode is when it's a lot more affordable, when you can get a very semi-decent headset for console prices. I'm sure at that point you'll see a lot more people being able to get into it. But there's the Meta Quest as well, so there's that, and they're making it cheaper. So I'd say 5 years you'll see another VR boom. At least that's the way I think about it.
I think so too. Like, I think of Meta. I kind of feel this is my opinion, of course, but like I feel like Meta's kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because it's just like they have to do it their way. And it's like when I actually, my first headset was a Quest, the original Quest, and it was like you had to boot to play it on PC without any mods or any modification or anything. It was like you boot up the Quest, then you go into your Quest home, then you go into your Quest in PC, then you go into Steam VR, then and then you had to open your Quest, your Oculus game menu, and then you had to go into Steam, and then you could play a Steam game. And it's like that's not needed. Like you could, and then once virtual desktop became popular, people could just launch virtual desktop and then go through wirelessly and do a bunch of fancy stuff. So that was nice, but it's still not official. Like, and I don't know, if Meta just made it easier, I feel like it would benefit them. I don't know.
Well, Meta may not be, but I know Steam released a Quest to Steam VR system where you could do that through an app in the Meta headset. So it kind of exists, but just not Meta official, just Steam official, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. That's true. It's come a long way since I have. That's true. And there's no way to like it's obviously very popular, and it's like probably the most popular headset as far as I know. But like I still am using my Index myself, but I just I want to upgrade, but I want to support Valve. I like the Index a lot, but it's just like, oh, come on, just come out with a new one. It's been like 5 years, if not longer.
There's actually two new Valve headsets coming out, which is the Deckard, which is most recent, which I believe was Steam's response to the Meta Quest. But I don't think Steam does things slowly, and they want to do things right. And then they have another work in progress, which is like a brain reading one, which is the Galaga. There's EKG, EEG brain reading devices built into the headset. So there's two things coming out of Steam now. Whether they're released or not, I have no idea. probably be released the same time as Half-Life 3.
Yeah, no kidding. They can't count to 3, right? Valve doesn't have the ability to count to 3. Yeah, like I thought, for some reason I thought the Deckard was like the one that was fake. Maybe I'm wrong. There was like a big one that was released and everyone thought it was real, and then turned out to be a scam or something. Was that the Deckard?
The Deckard it wasn't a scam. Well, it was not a scam, but it was quite a joke. I think similar to see what the response would have been. So they kind of like jokingly did the release of it, but it's not a scam. It's actually being built. It's something you can buy at some point soon. It's not a fake headset. It's a real headset. The release of the real headset, though, was the joke.
Oh, okay. I feel like I'm in my own little world. I feel like I should know some of this. But that's neat. Yeah, okay. I guess I just thought it was like, oh, they made it up and said it was released or something. But yeah, I didn't look into it.
Well,
but I think that's a benefit, actually.
Why is that a benefit?
That I like, though. Like I live in my own like bubble in a way, and it's like I like to think that I'm not influenced by a lot of other stuff, which I guess everyone is in some way. But I don't know. I guess for a lot of my life I've been a loner, kind of doing my own stuff. But it's good, as in like I don't latch on to something just because it's what people like to do. I always like to find my own way, but it doesn't make it easy. That's for sure.
Well, that leads me to have another question for you. If you kind of grew up alone, like the by yourself kind of person, what brought you to being in such a public spotlight as a VJ, DJ, dancer, being the person who's in front of everybody? If you like, not in that kind of spotlight beforehand.
That's a good question. I think like when I was in school, I just like all my friends were in the big city, which was like an hour away, and like I just didn't really have much interest in connecting with my classmates, so I just would like go to my car and draw and read comics and stuff. And then on the weekends I'd go into the city and visit with my other friends, which I kind of met at I guess it would be a like a church youth group way back when. And it's like where I made a whole bunch of friends there. And then from there, it was like I used to be really timid and shy, actually. But I went through an experience that was, I want to say traumatic, but that sounds a little intense. But it was just like a lot of things happened to me. I ended up running this group of like 20 people, 25 people across Canada to make this convention. And they were all like, well, you organized us. Like, why don't you run this? And I was like, oh, I guess. Okay, sure. And so I started to do that. It was all over Skype, which kind of dates that. But, and we coordinated. We got a lot of different connections and raised money and went for quite a while. That was good. But it was like, I remember signing for Venue some of the first contracts, and it was so scary because it was like, they're like, okay, you need to sign this and sign it with your personal name, not like a business or anything. Like you have to commit that it's going to be your ass on the line if you don't come through. And it's like the only way you can cancel this contract is like acts of God, it would say in it and stuff like that. It's just scary. So it's like some of the hotel contracts that we dealt with were like $90,000 you'd be on the hook for if you can't do it or if you cancel or anything. So it was just like once we went all in, it was just like, yeah, there's no going back. We have to do this. And which was stressful but good because it was a good time. I think one of my favorite memories from after that, after we finished the event, was this I guess I won't use my real name, but this girl came up to me and she like said my name. She was like a mom. And she was just like, are you so and so? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. And then she was like, just didn't even give me a choice and just starts hugging me. And then she starts crying and I was like, whoa, like, are you okay? What's wrong? It was right after the event, so I was like escaping from the crowds and being like, whew, that was a lot, and we succeeded. I felt good, but like, yeah, this lady came up, and she just like looks at me and she's like, I think it was son. Yeah, my son is in a wheelchair and he's 14, and this is like the best day of his life. And so it's like, thank you for and I was just like, my heart just went like, it was just like, oh God, like it was just like so good but so heavy, you know. It was like great. Like I wouldn't have it any other way, but like just that realization is like what doing these events is for. Is like those moments is what makes it all worth it. Like I'm working on my own little project that'll come to light in the future, but it'll be a fun event. I'm sure it'll be seen. But it's a little secret project.
Oh, well, since you mentioned it, what kind of secret project is this secret project? Anything we can know about it, one would say.
It's like, let's see.
You don't know secrets for shit, do you?
What's
Man, you don't know what a secret stands for. Oh, God. Oh, God. What's a secret?
I could share a little bit.
You don't have to. No, I was being funny. I very much understand.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. He's being a
It's
shit.
fine, I don't mind.
Straight up. He's just being a shit. Yeah, being a shit.
Yeah, it's like, it's going to be a sort of venue, but it's going to have like an interesting theme, which should what's the phrase, like turn some heads. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be excited to see what it is this venue is and what you plan on doing with it. So yeah. So have you ever had any interpersonal moments like that from within VRchat in your events? People who came forward like that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking earlier, but I think the closest thing I have to that is that if it's somebody who comes up after my show and they're just like, I've never seen anything like that in VRchat, and they're just like just wowed. It's like, it feels nice. It's almost like hard to believe, because you're just like, no, that was like, you know, you think of all the mistakes that people didn't notice, or like you missed a transition or something, and just like, oh no, that can't be. But like I've had a few people come up and they're just like, usually like sometimes it'll be days after, but they'll really just express how much they appreciated my my show, I guess.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, with like you mentioned earlier, no, because of the mistakes you made, but a lot of the time, the audience, from what I've been told by lots of people, DJs and people in the spotlight, is a lot of time the audience won't even notice it. You're like the artist is the harshest critic to themselves a lot of the time.
Absolutely. I think that as long as you keep the vibe going, a lot of people are going to have a good time anyway. I think some of the best advice I got from somebody when I was starting was Paul Manton told me, they said they knew a really good DJ that would literally just, as soon as the one song would end, they would just start it, the next song, like right at that beat. And like, I've definitely done that, especially if these two songs don't really fit together. It's definitely a way to do it. Sometimes I don't mix as much as some people might like, because mixing is very much like an EDM thing, I find, and which is totally fine. People are so good at it. But like, since I'm doing so many things, and I really do like to have a whole song play out sometimes, depending. But yeah, a lot of people are really like, they stress how they feel, how important mixing is. And like, it's great. It takes a lot of talent and whatnot too, but there's definitely something to being said for just bringing a vibe, and that's what I'm all about. It's like, I want to entertain. I'm not necessarily there to show like how great I can spin and whatnot. I just want to show that like what I'm passionate about and what I can bring, which might sound like it's contradicting, where I said like I'm not doing it for other people, but like I'm kind of not. It's kind of like I do it because I enjoy it, and I get up there and like I just get in this headspace that's just like really nice. It's like bliss. Just everything else goes away, and I just do it. But like I do it for the people that like it, or the people that appreciate it, as opposed to I'm not out there trying to get that validation, I guess. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. We've heard a similar sentiment from another VRChat user, not related to the DJ scene, but Persol said something similarly, but in terms of pricing for art. Like he paints his stuff, and he said something along the lines of, charge what you wish. I'm sorry if you see this, by the way, I'm fucking this up, but charge what you think it's worth, and the right people will come and pay for it. Breaking it down to similar, make what you think is good, and the right people who enjoy it will come. Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good. That's wise words, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Sorry, Per, if I messed that up. More than likely I did. Sorry.
No, not you. You never screw up anything like that. What are you talking about?
No, never. My
He's
computer's never frozen or done an entire podcast without my mic connected. That doesn't happen ever.
Oh, no.
Doesn't that tell you? Doesn't that tell you, folks, that, you know, when you want to try to keep it under wraps, he lets it out of the bag like a balloon? There you go. You already got it there. Oh, my God. What the hell's the he shit? What the hell's wrong with you? Can't you get one? Never mind. Sorry, folks. Back to you.
So what have been some of the best advice you've gotten from various people in VRChat in terms of what you're doing as well? Because I'm quite curious.
Yeah, like I think Paul Manton gave you some good advice. Swa has given me a lot of good advice. Just mostly like had a lot of like those things I mentioned where you have the heart-to-hearts after the event and whatnot. But outside of VRChat, some of the best advice I can think of, which isn't really your question, but I feel like it's somewhat relevant because I still do it. But somebody told me, because I was stressed out about that convention-led event, and I was like, oh, so heavy. I was also dealing with a lot at that point, just in real life in general. And I asked them, I was like, what kind of tips can you give me? And they're like, I got two things. Like two tips for you, and the first one is always trust your gut. Like just your gut and what you think you need to trust, and then of course like listen to feedback and whatnot, and like there are times where it may not even be quite what you think, but overall like trust your gut. Whether that's listening to other people or whatnot, but like if you have a gut feeling, listen to it, because there's a reason for that. Which that's a whole other thing. But yeah, trust your gut. And then the second thing they said was give up. They're like, don't do it. And I was like, at first I was like, what? And they're like, okay, bye. I was like, what? But like I thought about it, and I was like, if you're listening to rule 1, rule 2 doesn't matter. And that like hit me really heavy. And I was like, damn. Okay, I get it. And I just thought it was like really good advice. I think about that often.
Oh, really? What about that?
It's just like, it's kind of like that smack in the face I needed. And then it was like, no, but this is my gut. Like I need to follow my gut here. And it was just like, yeah.
That's very interesting. Now, final 2 questions before we start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But your name, where is it from?
Yeah, so RegenStorm is supposed to be like a healing storm. So regen in Dutch and German means rain, and regen is like regeneration. So like healing, kind of like the old video games and stuff. You can see like from my hearts, I'm big into video games and stuff. And my runes, that's from the game Eternal Darkness. This one means healing of your health spell, and this one is protecting your mind. Then I have my little kitty doing flips over here. Those are like the things I always have in all my avatars. But yeah, so it's like healing rainstorm with the regeneration of old video games. Like that was a spell in like the old Final Fantasies where it like slowly heal your health, and it was like a self-improvement reminder where I was like, to forgive myself and like help people in their journeys too. Don't just make it about me. That I wanna heal and be better and constantly improving, searching truth or whatever. But yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that.
And Storm just sounds cool.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
Somebody. Sorry if I didn't mean to interrupt you, but in VRChat it's always hard too because there's a little bit of lag and I get excited. But Storm, so I had a friend a long time ago say that if you add a word in front of the word storm, it always sounds awesome. Like no matter what word you add, like if you're like bubble storm, that sounds sweet. If you add even if it's something bad like shit storm, it's like it's still a giant ass storm of shit. Like that's crazy. So I like storm. I challenge you. Even if you're like mediocre storm, it's like it's still a storm. Like that's still cool. Like I don't know. So I always like the word storm.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you.
You kind of touched on a little bit for the next question, but what makes you use the avatar or style of avatar in VRChat? Is there anything meaning to it to you? What you look like, or yeah?
Yeah, I've always liked cats. I got like the cat girl eyes. I like that a lot, and like the nose. It's all kind of like come together over time. I like the braids too. A lot of it's just tweaks here and there, but I like how this one moves a lot. It's got good movement, and I just think it's cute. This is a cam model. Actually, it's hard to even recognize because as soon as you change anything on the face, like a lot of people are like, "Wait, what? It is really?" But I've always liked the cam models. They just have really good movement, and yeah, it's good avatar. And this one's I do my own avatars too, so I tweak a lot of stuff and I change a lot as well to my own aesthetic and yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers it.
It does. Final question. I say last two, and I always end up giving three. If anyone wants to do whatever it is that anything close to what you do, what kind of advice would you give them starting out?
Give up. No. Kidding.
Give up. My God. Just fuck it. It's done. Give up. Screw it. Don't even get started. Don't even play in that mud puddle. Just go. Somebody else can do it. I'll just watch.
Yeah. No, it's great. Actually, I do want to push. If anyone has the creative drive to do stuff like that, they should. But the good thing is to put your own spin on it, for sure. Otherwise you're just chasing somebody else too. But you gotta use your own judgment there. I would say I guess it depends what we want to do. If you want to get into avatars and stuff, supporting other people and even getting commissions from people and then being like, hey, can I watch your work? Can I see? And usually they're like, yeah, sure, of course. And you can learn things, you learn little shortcuts, learn how to do things more effectively. It's a really good way to do it. For DJing or VJing, it's a little tougher, but a lot of it is just it's the first step. The first step is always the hardest. Even streaming and stuff, you're just oh, I can't do this because I don't have this ready, or I can't do this. There's always a reason not to do something. It's just that first step that you got to get out there and start. May not be perfect, but actually somebody gave me good advice a long time ago that because I was stressing out about something, I was but what if it's not perfect, blah, 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 stuff. And although maybe I didn't say it quite like that, but they came up to me and were they're I give you the permission to do a shitty job. I was like, what? They're yeah, just they pretended. They're oh, here's a free pass for doing a shitty job. And it was I was haha, okay, well, whatever. And then I thought about it. And I'm I don't know, kind of made the anxiety go away. And then I just kind of did it. And it was good, actually. I once you start, a lot of times you'll keep rolling. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for explaining all those
Yes.
things. I very much enjoyed learning all about you from how you started and your go-go dancing to VJing. And DJing. Thank you very much for everything.
Yes.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Appreciate
It's
it.
been a lot of fun. You guys seem like good people.
Well, thank you
Thank you.
very much. Where can the audience find you if they wish to reach out and find you?
Pretty much all my social medias, RegenStorm. So you can do that. You can hit me up on Discord, or if I'm in VRchat, you can just go to my bio, and I think I have my links on my bio. You can click that, should open a browser, and get in contact with me. That's cool too. Biggest thing is just actually contact me, or actually like talk to me, because I want to remember. I want to connect. Where a lot of people are just like, yeah, I get it, they're timid and they don't really want to like put themselves out there, but like it's worth it, and you should absolutely say more than just hi, or just like try to make a connection. Like I'm not gonna judge. I'm just gonna appreciate who you are, Try my best anyway.
Well, thank you so very much, and thank you, the audience, for watching us. Before I hand this off to you, Mr. Raptor, I want to ask the audience a question. When was the first time you tried anything, and what was the experience like? Let us know down the hoobly what's a thingamabobble. And Raptor, you know the thing.
Yeah. When you get into VR, folks, and you come up into a situation and you have a gut feeling, it's like Storm says, and you think it's a shit storm, and all of a sudden you see a banana and a hot dog in the background, just slowly sneak away as slow as you possibly can, but just be quiet, because you might end up with more than you want to know. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you. Bye.
You should have ended with chew.